Guys, there's all sorts of new information about the Avengers Doomsday trailer that got me wondering what the f is going on with this movie. Welcome back to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy, and we're gonna break down the newest and weirdest news about the Doomsday trailer. And then I gotta talk to Colton and Tommy so they can help me make sense of all this news.
Yeah, what's going on anyways?
Well, alright, in case a lot of you guys are not chronically plugged into the Marvel rumor mill, let me just fill you in on the latest news about this trailer. So the Multiverse saga is like a bit of a mess, right? Like Marvel has released more hours in this saga already than the whole Infinity Saga combined. They dumped their big bad, Kang the Conqueror, to bring back Robert Downey Jr. as a new version of Dr. Doom.
Oh, it's good to be back.
And like at our live shows, I didn't meet a single one of you who were excited about this movie, but everybody is curious. And actually, the more time goes on, the more I'm excited about this film. Like, I just want to see the MCU characters cross over again, and Marvel Zombies gave me just a tiny hint about how fun this phase could have been if we would have had Avengers movies.
Hell yeah! We have an Avenger in the house, guys!
Every time the Russo brothers drop some bit of news, we can't stop talking about it. They confirmed that Dr. Doom is indeed a variant of Tony Stark, and that his origin is tied to the end of Endgame, and that only Robert Downey Jr. could have played this character. And there's also rumors that Jonathan Majors is coming back as Kang, and then there was that entire day that we spent watching chairs with the names of famous people on the back.
Riveting.
We all have a million questions about this movie, and now we're finally starting to get some answers. We're about a year away from the release of the movie, and now we know the first trailer is going to be attached to the movie Avatar: Fire and Ash coming out in December. And now we've also heard some wild rumors about this movie and its trailer. So let's run through them all, and then Colton and Tommy can tell me later on if this is the beginning of the end of Marvel or the end of the beginning.
I'm listening.
1. The latest rumor is that Marvel is currently reviewing up to 30 different cuts of the trailer, which by the way is not unusual for a high-profile studio film. Some of the trailer variants can have small differences, and at other times they might be debating if they want to like reveal a character for marketing or save them for the reveal in the movie. My guess is they're going to opt to front load as much marketing as possible. If Hugh Jackman is in this movie, we will see him in a trailer.
Hugh Jackman.
The trailer is also said to heavily feature Dr. Doom, which makes sense because the movie's named after him, right? But weirdly enough, the latest rumor is that there's going to be many variants of Doom in the movie, including female variants. Now, I have some very strong opinions on this because it seems like they just swapped out Kang the Conqueror and his army of variants for an army of Dooms. And yes, there can be Dr. Doom variants in other realities, but I think it works better if there's not. In the show What If, we saw that in most realities, Tony Stark dies. And because he's dead, he's not there to solve everyone's problems. So maybe in those realities where Tony doesn't die, he always devolves into a hyper-control freak like Dr. Doom. But I think having so many different variants of the character is going to cheapen him. So personally, I would much prefer if there was only one Doom, one version of Tony Stark that went down the wrong path, but then that created this ultimate monster. But there's also more news about him, some exciting and some that worries me. Now, I want to take a second to tell you guys about something pretty exciting that's going on in my life. See, I realized that I was gaining a lot of weight because I was stress eating all day long. I was eating without thinking about it, and I kind of just constantly needed some kind of oral fixation to help me cope with all of this work-related anxiety. On top of this, I have my facial tic, which I have struggled with for years. It turns out that instead of quitting cold turkey to get control of those bad habits, I just had to instead replace that habit, so I started using Fume. Now guys, I have been talking about Fume on this channel for years because it's one of my favorite products that we promote, and it's worked for me on so many levels. And I gotta be clear, this is not a vape or an e-cig or any kind of nicotine product. This is something totally different. A simple, satisfying way to replace bad habits without using anything harmful. Fume includes no smoke, no vapor, no nicotine, just natural flavored air that gives you something to reach for without all the chemicals. Instead, it uses plant-based cores that taste great. My favorite is orange vanilla, but there are tons to choose from. And I know you guys probably have your own bad habits that you want to leave behind, but sometimes you need more than willpower. You still need something physical to reach for, and Fume is that alternative. And I also love this built-in fidget feature that makes an incredibly satisfying sound. This is an award-winning flavored air device that you can use anywhere, and it is 100% nicotine-free. No batteries, no charging, just grab and go. More than 700,000 people have already added Fume to their daily routines, and I totally get why. It's simple, satisfying, and doesn't come with any of the downsides of smoking or vaping. And right now, if you order their Journey Pack using my code ScreenCrush, you will get a free Fume topper. It's this little rubber piece on the end that's great for chewing. So if you've ever been thinking about changing your habits, this is the perfect first step. Go to tryfume.com bluechew.com/ScreenCrush or scan the QR code on screen to grab yours today. Now back to what I was saying. Now another Doom rumor, and I like this one, is that he's going to be like a Universal monster in the film.
Like a monster that's everywhere?
No, like a monster that was featured in the old Universal films like Frankenstein and Dracula. Like Doom is a grotesque person who is rejected by humanity, and Doom in the movie has also been compared to Darth Vader or Phantom of the Opera. Now in the comics, Doom is defined by his one thing, his ego. He believes, like Tony Stark, that he can fix every problem himself, he just needs more power to do it. Doom wears a mask because he is vain and he doesn't want the world to see that he is disfigured. Although in some variations like this action figure, he only has like the tiniest little scar until he made his followers attach a burning hot mask to his face. So it would make sense that Doom would be a Vader figure. And I've said this for a while, that we think Dr. Doom is created when Tony Stark survives the snap. His face is scarred, he has Infinity Stones, and Pepper is probably dead, so he has no moral compass. Again, if that happens to Tony Stark in a lot of different realities, then I think it cheapens him. But there's another variation of this. Maybe the other variants of Doom are the actual Victor Von Doom, and the Tony Stark version is the only one that's actually Tony Stark. This would open the door to introducing Victor Von Doom in a future project while letting the Multiverse saga have its fun with evil Tony Stark. Like, I cannot overstate how important this trailer is. Marvel needs this movie to make like $1.5 billion. This is actually the first year since 2011 when Marvel has released a movie and did not have a film in the top 10 box office grossers. People have checked out of the MCU, and the whole reason Marvel Studios is doing this saga is to bring back in the X-Men characters from the old movies, so now we will finally get that crossover in this film. But what has me worried is that I think this movie could be great, but everything in this saga is so overcomplicated that it'll be impossible to follow. Maybe Space Rocks and Purple Guy were just easier to follow than everything we've seen. After all, multiverses, Loki, TV shows, sacred timelines, it's a lot of information for casual viewers to take. But there is a chance that this finale could even surpass Avengers Endgame, right? I gotta talk to some friends to find out. So I don't know, guys. I'm here. I want to be excited about the trailer, but the analytical part of my brain is, you know, kind of telling me, this won't work, but I just want it to work so bad though. So I got joined with me here, Colton Ogburn, the guy who's trapped in our TV and doesn't know it. So please don't tell him. And Tommy Bechtold, the guy who's always on break. Tommy, okay, so we got all this new information about the trailer. What do you make of it? And is it a flop waiting to happen?
No, come on. What a bunch of trailer crybabies. We're Trailer Park boys, you everybody. Not Bubbles, though.
I literally am a Trailer Park boy. I mean, yeah, so there you go.
Come on now. No, the trailer's not going to flop. Everybody just relax. We all need to just calm down and realize that once this trailer comes out, the hype for this movie will be astronomical. Now, I know that there is a subset of very fortunate people that don't do this for a living, or at least part of a living, that like to go into movies completely blind and don't watch trailers, and they can't stop talking about it at parties. I saw Force Awakens and I never saw a single trailer or teaser. Good for you.
Oh, I didn't see one for The Last Jedi. So yeah, I mean, I never hesitate to break. Oh, Last Jedi, you know, I didn't see a trailer for that movie. It comes up all the time.
Smarmy, smug elitists on your moral high grounds. I watch every trailer. I watch every teaser. I watch every
hybrid cars. I'm the worst, and I don't even own a hybrid car or a car. I'm stuck in the store. It's very strange. Continue.
I went into the lore behind the pet food commercials that were tied into Superman. That's what I do. I break those down. I break down every piece of information.
Oh, so
yes.
When The Phantom Menace came out, you were the guy who was obsessively watching the Taco Bell, Pizza Hut crossover commercials with the
That's
Colonel.
right.
There you go.
That's
See,
right.
Colton, that's a spoiler. You shouldn't have that on the screen right now. So here's the thing, though. So you're bringing up an interesting point about when the trailer comes up, it's going to get hype. Of course it is. In my lifetime, I can think of one trailer, at least Marvel trailer, that people went, oh God, when it came out, and that's She-Hulk. There are so many things that underperformed that from the trailer. I mean, look, The Phantom Menace had one of the best. I bought a movie ticket to see Wing Commander, to see the trailer for Phantom Menace, right? That's how fucking great that trailer was. Spider-Man 3, great trailer. X-Men 3, great trailer. She-Hulk, as soon as you saw CGI She-Hulk, you're like, oh God, that's not great, right? So of course it's going to get hype, but the movie itself, from everything we've heard, Colton, what the hell do you think is going on? Variants of Doom? Lady Dooms? Ladies Doom? It's too much for my mind to handle.
I think there's something important to keep in mind. Yes, a good trailer is very important, especially for Avengers Doomsday and what Marvel has to prove right now with this movie. So I wasn't surprised at all to hear that they have like so many different versions cut and having like different trailer houses cutting them. Like there are different like companies who
Oh, I
their
didn't know
entire
that.
job is to make a good trailer.
No
Yeah.
wonder there's so many leaks.
Yeah. And it's also important to remember that just because a trailer is really good, unfortunately, that doesn't mean anything for the movie, like you were just saying. It is quite literally their job to put together a minute and a half marketing, like a piece of marketing. Yeah. So while the Doomsday trailer is going to be extraordinarily important, and I'm glad to hear that Marvel seems to be understanding that, uh, you still got to see the movie. You know what I mean? So it's not going to tell us anything like whether or not Marvel's actually back, I think, until we see it, but it'll give us a good indication. As far as like the rumors go with like a Lady Doom and all these variants, I don't know. It just kind of feels like a repeat of what they were doing with Kang. I, I don't want to see like a bunch of Doctor Dooms. I think that unless they're Doombots. If they
Actually,
go
I
with
believe
Doom,
the term is Doctor's Doom.
Doctor's Doom, yeah,
Oh.
Peter
Yeah, I think
Parker,
so.
yeah,
Yeah, like Whoppers Jr., etc. So if you order more than one Whopper Jr.
yeah.
Whopper.
I'm down for it.
I
I
hate
am down
myself.
for a Council of Dooms if he is like controlling them like a hive mind, and kind of like what Ultron did with his bots. Like none of them had individual personalities. He was just everywhere at once. So I like the idea of him being able to dreamwalk like throughout the multiverse, and he's fighting the X-Men in one universe and the Avengers in another universe, and it's all the same dude.
So like Doombots, but not actual Doombots, right?
Right.
Because the
Like
whole
he
reason, because that's why he has Doombots in the comics, so he can like go do other shit.
yeah,
And the
he
Fantastic Four
he
think they've beaten him, and it's like, oh, a robot. How could we
yeah,
not
and
see
since
that
he's the
coming?
master sorcerer, he could be dreamwalking into his variant self. So that's already been established in the
That's cool,
MCU.
and that I love that. That's got me. But I want to add a caveat there. When he dreamwalks into his other selves, if he's going to be Tony Stark, right? If we're doing this dumb thing where Victor Von Doom is Tony Stark, if we're doing that, then he should be dreamwalking into Tony Stark, to use the grammatically
Well,
correct term,
not
right? So
not to be nitpicky, but I don't know that it's he is Tony Stark. I really think it's going to be more Tony Stark as Doctor Doom. Like
the adoption theory you talk about,
yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think in some universes, yes, he's Stark. In most universes, maybe he's Doom. And
You did a good video on that, and I applaud you for it. It was a really good video. I just think that's too complicated, man. I think there's so much in this movie already, Tommy, where it's like they got to re-explain Loki, and we had a hard time explaining Loki to people when we were covering it. I just think there's so much going on that adding in, like, oh, by the way, the guy you thought was Tony Stark, actually this guy over here, and then this thing in the adoption. See, that was the belly was like this. It's a lot. It's
Well,
fun
and
for
not
us.
to mention, not to mention the first piece of like, informative media that came out about this movie was a slow crawl across 87 different actors' first and last names. So you're like, great. So the cast is overstuffed already with more to be announced. How do all of them fit into this movie and in any sort of satisfying way? Or is it, the old James Gunn Suicide Squad rope-a-dope where there's like, look at all these famous people that are going to be in this movie for 3 seconds.
Let me throw this out there to you guys. Colton, back over on your own channel, you got a lot of hype leading up to Infinity War, and we did too. Like Infinity War is kind of where we first started to really gain momentum as a channel, and that's because going into Infinity War, if we erase the past 7 years and let's talk like it's April 2018, all of us could list all these different things we really wanted to see in Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Like in Infinity War, we were like, I think this movie's more comparable to Infinity War, is why I bring up that. We would be like, oh yeah, no, we want to see the Guardians of the Galaxy meet the Avengers. That's big. We want to see if Steve and Tony make up and become friends again. We want to see what happened to Steve when he's on the run. There were all these really cool things from these really high-grossing movies that had come before. And leading into this one, there's not a lot of character for me coming into this. Not a lot of stuff. There's people I like. I love Shang-Chi. I want to know what the Beacon's about, but I'm not really invested in seeing where his journey goes just yet. Is there anything that you guys have where you're like, nah, man, character-wise, apart from seeing like the Fantastic Four fight the X-Men, this is what I'm down for in this film?
Well, that's because the multiverse saga has been a total clusterfuck. Like, say what you will about maybe you like this one movie or like another show or something. The connectivity part, they have just completely mishandled how they build up to what they did in which phases. Thunderbolts came too late. I really think that Doomsday, in a lot of ways, it's going to be successful and it's going to replicate what Infinity War did, not because people are excited about what we've seen so far in the multiverse saga. I really think it's like, oh, hey, this is a sequel to Avengers Endgame. Like, I think the Infinity Saga is really what they're building on, continuing to build on, especially with RDJ coming back. I could totally see them, connecting it really heavily to we've got Steve who went back in time. We've got the whole time travel thing. I could see that being a consequence of what creates Doom. Tony snapping. Ryan, you've talked about how that snap moment could connect with Doctor Doom, and there's some reports of him being like fused with his suit. It's almost like the multiverse saga and everything that's been built up, it's like secondary. It's like, oh, if you've been watching, that's great. If not, if you were an Infinity Saga fan, here you go. Like, it kind of feels like
I think that that's dead on, Colton. Honestly, I feel like this movie's going to like kind of like take all of that and be like, hey, those are almost serve as like key multiversal plot points, multiverse saga plot points are going to be like Easter eggs for fans in this movie, and it's going to basically be Doctor Doom, fighting all of our favorite heroes. Like, I wonder, like, have they even announced like what's America Chavez doing in all of this? She seems like she could be helpful.
Sure, I would presume, and I don't know. I don't think her name was on the chairs, which doesn't mean anything.
It was
there'd
right.
be a lot of people who aren't. I think the Champions, which hasn't been announced, is going to probably come out between the movies. But at this point, I think it would have been announced by now, right? Like, or they're doing it very stealth. That's where I think she'll show up. But you're right. But let me ask you a question. So you, Colton, you brought up like all the multiverse saga plot points are going to be Easter eggs, or maybe Tommy said, I can't remember. I love you both so much. You're like my kids. I can't pick between you. What plot points in the multiverse saga are we talking about? Because here's the big ones I can think of, right? That haven't really been resolved. Like Wanda. Wanda's going to be alive. We got the whole thing. That's huge, right? And there's other characters. Like, I love Namor. And that's what is frustrating about this saga is like, baby, the ingredients are in there. There's some great characters for them to play with. Like, even just seeing like super stuffy Fantastic Four meet, this dark and brooding X-Men or meet Namor, that's all great. But what actual plot points that weren't introduced 2 movies ago? I mean, are there like, okay, so we hear off camera that Sam is upset that there's a second Avengers team. Well, we've seen that before when the Avengers fought each other. But what plot points are we excited are going to get resolved? Like, what is there in the multiverse saga to even address?
Hulk's brooding son is right there for you. Hulk's temperamental boy. And what does that mean? What's fatherhood like on
If
Bruce
my
Banner?
mom gave me a haircut like that, I'd be brooding too. That's sure. I don't think we'll see him in this. We may see him in the Champions, or there was also like there was like leaked concept art we did not show on the channel because they would take the video down, and we don't do that. But there was leaked concept art, which may not happen, of like a Hulk village in Secret Wars that looked pretty cool. So we might see him in that.
Well, you know what they're not going to do that is the most interesting thing to me is that Riri Williams is currently in a pact with the devil. And like that would be awesome to address in this movie because it would actually breathe a little more life into the Ironheart, of it all. And it almost assuredly will not be addressed for another 5 years. So which
is a shame because that show, like Stealth Low Key, was one of my favorite. I'm not just saying this because like the producer was on the show. I loved it. I really
very much enjoyed it, and I loved the audacity to end it the way they did, with her actually being like, "All right, I'll take the deal."
Did not see that coming.
No,
but you're right. So that's one thing that we want to see addressed, right? That's a cliffhanger. Whereas, like with Infinity War and Endgame, you kind of felt like the cliffhangers from various movies or things they were setting up were going to get paid off. Spider-Man: Homecoming. So Spider-Man is like kind of a superhero now. Thor Ragnarok, what happens to the Asgardians when they land. I'm genuinely serious. I'm not trying to stump on the multiverse saga because you got to remember we like 3 years ago, right? I think really pre-Quantumania, we were still hyped about this saga. Like we were like down and theorizing, or Secret Invasion might have killed it. What is it you guys actually want to see or are looking forward to seeing that's not just a sequel to Endgame, as Colton said, which is a great observation, buddy.
I think there's still some stuff that's been set up in the multiverse saga that there is to look forward to. I mean, the Loki series was great, and I think even like casual fans, kind of kept up with Loki, which is actually good because that show did so much like carrying of water for like understanding the multiverse stuff and the time travel stuff, even though it was still kind of confusing. So I think there's like some loose ends there that could tie up, maybe some fun stuff with Mobius and Loki. I want to see Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man fight an alien.
I want to fight an alien.
So maybe like we get a little
Oh,
like, Tom
yeah,
Holland saying,
yeah.
here's your chance, buddy. And like it's Andrew getting to fight like I don't know who the alien would be, maybe a variant of Thanos or something.
We got lots to pick from.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Tommy, you got one? You got anything you really want to see resolved before Cole goes to his next point?
No, I mean, I honestly think that like the things that I brought up, some of the younger characters that are probably going to be shown in Champions, that's my problem. Is I think the things I found interesting are teased for a future possible project, and because I mean, I guess what I'm mostly hyped about this movie isn't any of the resolution. It's what the new promise of it is, which is that the X-Men are coming to the MCU,
right.
and that's like what I'm most excited about. So it's hard to be like. I feel kind of like a bit of a fraud having like covered all of these things over the last 6 years, but I'm like, none of it really stuck with me where I'm like, I got to see where this goes. I got to see what Doctor Strange is up to right now. Is he still with Charlize Theron? Did they make it work? Please, somebody.
I've got a list. I've just jotted down a few things. And Colton, this was inspired by what you just said about Loki. There's a few things, a few little teases we haven't quite gotten yet in the Multiverse saga. You ready? Mobius on a jet ski. We have not seen it. And I swear up and down to the Russo brothers on high, if Avengers Secret Wars does not end with Tom Hiddleston riding shotgun behind Mobius on a jet ski, I'm out. I'm not going to cover phases 7 through 100. I'm just done. I need to see that shot. I also want to see how Thor, when he re-meets his people, how they react to him being a dad. That's fun to me. They're going to be like, you? Because he's been so irresponsible in every movie. And I want to see how fatherhood changes Thor. We kind of overlooked that. Love and Thunder was it didn't live up to our expectations, but I was into that. But I'll tell you the number one thing, and I think I won't be alone here, that I really want out of this saga. I think the main character of this saga should have been Wanda. She had the best story. And number one, I want to see her redeemed and reunited with her entire family. And I think that's what Vision Quest and Agatha and everything are building toward. That's what I'm hyped to see in this movie. And I got to check, none of those involved Doctor Doom, which probably isn't great. Not really the greatest thing to introduce a villain at the end of the saga, but I don't know. Colton, you've been championing it a bit. What do you got?
I think it can all include Doctor Doom because I think he's going to be so intertwined in all of that. I think we're going to learn like retroactively almost how intertwined he is with all the Loki stuff. Like that
That'd be cool.
Scene,
I'd love it.
Yeah, sounds like I love the idea of Doom like yeeting Loki off the throne and Loki's like falling through the multiverse and he lands in like some cosmic sea and then here comes Mobius on the jet ski. Get on, buddy, and they take off. That would be awesome. Yeah, they really f***ed up, man, with not focusing, like you said, on Wanda, not doing Thunderbolts early. I mean, I don't want to repeat myself, but
when you watch Marvel Zombies, how fun is the connectivity in that, right?
Yeah.
It is so electric to see like Shang-Chi meet Riri and all these other, well, no, he didn't meet Riri in that, but to just see that interaction between them is so much fun. Baron Zemo, that's a guy who became one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Yeah, and that's another thing I think will be fun. Like, I kind of like the idea of maybe Sam maybe remaining on Earth with like Miss Marvel and Shang-Chi and like the newer, roster. And like while our other characters are like traveling the multiverse and fighting Doom and trying to get to Loki, maybe Doombots are attacking our main Earth and like they're holding down the fort and they can kind of have their little Avengers movie that we should have gotten, which was them just protecting the city or whatever within Doomsday. That might be neat.
I think we're also going to see this. I can't remember if this was a rumor or Colton, if you put it in one of your videos. You know, like Chris Evans did this interview where he was the worst liar ever. Where he was like, I'm not in that movie. You know, it's pretty obvious he had to tell. I do think he'll be in it, but like as Captain Hydra or something like that. And it would be cool if Doom had assembled sort of like the anti-evil Avengers would be really cool, because then we would literally see the Multiverse saga go up against the legacy of the Infinity Saga and have to prove their worth against these legends. But as far as all these rumors, Tommy, is there one of them that I just talked about that you're like, yeah, man, that sounds great. Like that actually has me more into the concept of this movie than I would have gotten otherwise.
Well, I think I talked about it on a talk back here a while ago about the idea of Captain Hydra facing off in some sort of battle against the Young Avengers. I think this is back when this was Young Avengers speculation what they could be if they were on Battleworld. So this is a Secret Wars theory. I love the idea of a super team of like reverse, not to use a DC term, but like reverse Flashes. Like I think that's fun. I think it's gonna be very hard to pull off in a movie with all of the other introductions. I guess the thing that I'm most interested in is the Doom origin story. I guess I really want to know how they're going to do this. Like that is the big question for me. We're getting more clues about it, but I want to know like the definitive. The thing I'm going to be most excited to learn in that movie is like the definitive. Why is Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom? You know, like that is the big number one question for me.
Do you guys think they'll reveal that? Okay, two questions. Do you think they will, and do you think they should reveal that in the trailer? Or is that something they need to save for the movie?
The Downey Doom?
Oh, like why?
His origin?
Doom. Yeah, why RDJ is playing Doom.
100%. I think that'll be the bulk of the trailer. I think, you said, Colton, that the Watcher can narrate the movie. I think he might narrate the trailer. Sorry, Tommy, go ahead.
No. My just thought is, like, if they don't do that in the first trailer and the backlash is huge, then the second trailer will be that. Like, it'll be like...
Yeah, kind of like the Marvels, how they kind of pivoted really hard in the third trailer to show the multiverse.
And to piggyback off that, I just want to say, I hate the idea of Captain Hydra. Nobody wants to see Steve Rogers come back as a bad guy. I think Tony... They've been teasing Tony, Breaking Bad the entire, Infinity Saga. If you see Steve bad, it's just like, oh, that. Like that's
a little gimmicky, right?
I guess they could tease it like he is going to be Captain Hydra, and then he could just be an ultra strict version of Captain America.
Well, he would be in the comics when he was basically Captain Hydra, he was mind controlled. So, there's options to go there. Yeah. You could also just do Skinny Steve. There's 100 other variants you can do. We did get that in What If. I think the trailer is going to answer a lot of questions for us, right? I think that the reason fans have trepidation is because it seems gimmicky to bring back Robert Downey Jr. It seems like they're just going back to the well. It seems like that episode of Saved by the Bell, the new class, where they suddenly had all the old stars come back because the new class sucked. I think they need a trailer that explains this. And then what I would do, I'd be like, I would just show the snap from Endgame and say, but in this universe, and then show him with the stones and Pepper dead, just show those flashes. I wouldn't even say shit. You just have to show flashes of different things, show the cast members, show this, end it with Robert Downey Jr. narrating, I am now Doom, and then that's it. That's all you need. Yeah. And we're going to be here watching it together. And we're going to crap our pants when that happens because it's going to be awesome. I hope the trailer is going to be awesome. I no discount that, but the movie itself, I'm still, until I get in there, I'm going to be like, there's too much studio stuff and storytelling stuff in my head now. I'm just too darn cynical.
I've seen some really fun fan edits for a trailer, and it just opens with Loki sitting on the throne, and it's like doing that punch in that we saw at the end of his series, and it's playing the and then I want to see Steve get recruited, and I think they just need to go full punch into what people care about.
All right, guys, I am excited about this trailer. We only got to wait 30 days-ish to see it. And when we do get it, we're going to be right here reacting to it, laughing, crying, sobbing, and hopefully not being apathetic. You can find Colton and Tommy at their links below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.